It's got that way around there on the banana stand.
Oh, no. Well, there's a tree in the front.
Yeah, that was it.
Is that what it is?
Intrusion, yep.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So you're gonna want to do it, or?
That's what I'm gonna try to do. You got a bid on $7,999. The sewer line is at the other side of the street. You gotta connect all the way.
So just 800?
There it is, he is. How are we doing there? Good to see you, my dear.
Yeah.
I know they have nothing for the same.
Brian, right?
It's the water.
Grace, I haven't eaten as well since you wouldn't have any.
That's right. It's feeling great though.
Yeah.
Feeling great with you.
Crickets taking
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
The next one coming up should be listed.
Good. Really?
Correct, yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
That's a lot.
No, I don't know.
Are they all over the place? It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'll show you outside.
Finally, it's called the Elaine
Right. Yes.
Good old person.
They sell, they keep
Nothing.
selling Brookside, you know, it's not that bad. Brookside, they sell eventually.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? Good, thank you.
It's supposed to be economical at that price. Why is it?
So do they merge with the store next door? The store next door, we're probably gonna merge. That's where the pot store.
They're doing more business than anyone.
They are,
They are mincing money.
they would be.
Huh? Except for marijuana.
It looks like you're having more fun.
They're having to put a parking structure in it. There's so much vacants in there. It's just insane. It really is.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they don't read it. Of course, I can't read because they're all stones. We do have signs that you see.
My storage unit's nice and put together.
Oh, down there. Oh, yeah.
So the mattress came in.
Yeah. Gotta be careful where you park. These days.
That's what's happening with us. People were, they didn't want to park in front. Everybody.
Morning.
Is this your stuff?
No.
Okay.
Work something.
Somebody's, but not
Maybe
mine.
we'll work something out.
It's for whoever wants to sit
Work
there.
something
Great.
out.
Yeah, that's yours.
Deal with us and get some food, something like that. We should be able
That's
to
okay, isn't it?
get some free brownies.
Know whose this is, I'll take it.
Oh, that's not.
It's for whoever wants
That was the minute. Good.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Ann Van Gordon with Fidelity National Title. Sarah Bass and Kelly Woodwood are my counterparts in the back here as well. We appreciate you having us in. I'm really thrilled to introduce Karen Johnson with Apollo Grain and Reuter. If you have not seen or heard of cured in place pipes, you are in for an amazing treat today. I mean, you never thought you'd get so excited about sewer stuff, right? So, she does do prize drawings, so be sure to have your card, your
Yes,
business card.
I actually have the box right here. I'll pass it around. If you have your business card, go ahead and put it in here and
Thanks,
I'll do a
Karen.
drawing at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Here, I'll start with you. So again, yeah, I'm Karen Johnson. I'm marketing director for Apollo Drain and Rooter. Careful, it comes out.
Yeah.
So who all has heard of Apollo Drain and Rooter? And can you hear me in the back? Can you hear me in the back okay? Trying to get their attention. Hello, back there in the back. So who's all used Apollo before?
I live in Earl.
No?
I give them out, I didn't have any-
Well, we've been around since 1984. We're family owned. We service Oregon and Washington. And what sets us apart from all the other plumbing companies, we are full service, but what sets us apart is a procedure that we do called CIPP, cured in place pipe. That's not SIP, CIPP for short. And basically what that is if you ever come across root intrusion, deterioration in your drain lines, rather than digging up your landscaping to replace them, we're going through an accessible clean out. For those who don't know what a clean out looks like, this would be a clean out. Or a pulled toilet if a clean out is not accessible. If there is no clean out, we can install a clean out, but what we'll do is run this sleeve down it. It gets blown in, and it's got a resin coated around it, and it gets cured with hot steam for an hour and becomes this hardened pipe within the pipe. And it doesn't matter what the pipe material it is. It can be cast iron, terracotta, doesn't matter. We can sleeve it. It has to be a drain line though, not potable water. So we can do pool drains, commercial downspouts, any kind of sewer drains, any drain lines from 2 inches all the way up to 12 inches, and now we can actually even go up as high as 15 inches wide.
And why are you doing that? Why are you sleeving it? I'm sorry. Why does that make that better?
So what this does is it actually is a replacement. So if that hose pipe deteriorates, you've got this pipe underneath, and it's a permanent fix for 50 years. So you never have to dig up the landscape, and you'll never have problems with root intrusion. Nothing can penetrate through this material.
So because it was right in, that whole thing will be on like its own.
It'll be its
in the
own
pipe.
Yep, it gets blown in, it's custom fit. We come out and measure the pipe. If it's a transition, like 3 to 6 inches, we can accommodate that as well. Any multiple angles and bends, we can do that as well.
That's great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So, would you rotor first, and then how far can you do this in the lines? I mean, if the lines are really long, is there a?
Yes, that's a very good question. I'm going to go through all that in the video and go into it a little further, but first I'm going to pass this around so you can feel it, but I want to go into the symptoms of a damaged sewer pipe. So you should all have one of these. If you don't, let me know, I can give you one. But these are really important things to look for if you have a broken drain line. Get my eyeballs on. So number one is sewage backups and blockages. So if you have regular backups and blockages, it could be root intrusion, it could be an offset, letting surrounding soil in that are contributing to this. And so if you have regular backups, that may be a symptom of a broken or deteriorating sewer line. Number two is sewer gas odor. You should never smell sewer gas odor in or around your home or building. If you do, that's a symptom that you have a broken drain line. I know that's not a picture of me. Number three is mold problems. Mold problems are, obviously we have an issue with mold just because we have a lot of rain and moisture in the air. But if you have significant mold like what you see in this picture, it could be due to a broken drain line that is increasing the humidity in the building and creating this mold. So be aware when you're doing a walkthrough in a home because I believe that a lot of people, when they have something like this, they don't wanna let you know, and they'll probably sand it and paint over it, hoping that you're not gonna notice.
Yeah.
And then it reveals itself later. So be aware of any kind of mold issues, because it could be behind the walls. Number 4 is a slow drain. Again, that could be an issue, you know, such as root intrusion or offsets, channeling, bellies, so on. We'd like to let everyone know not to use chemical drain cleaners if you can, because those just, basically all they're doing is they're just eating away at that pipe, increasing, you know, the deterioration in that pipe. And it's only cleaning off the hairball. It's not getting rid of the hairball necessarily, or it's just cleaning off the roots. It's not really getting rid of it. But if you have to use a drain cleaner, do something that's natural, like a natural enzyme to break that down. We actually sell something called BioLine, and it works really well. It comes in a big container. Don't have to use very much, but it just eats away at that gunk and gets it cleaning. But you know, again, it's not going to get rid of it entirely. It's going to come back.
Don't use Drano, right?
Don't use Drano. So number 5, extra green and lush patches in grass. So it acts as fertilizer for the grass, so that's where you're going to see those patches of green in the lawn. Number 6 is indentation in lawn or under pavers. So obviously we have a lot of settling, a lot of rain and so on, but if it's pretty significant, that's a good indication that there might be a break in the line, causing all that erosion underneath. That develops a void in that indentation. Did you have a question?
No, yeah, can I have a question?
Oh, did you not get a packet?
No.
Is there a packet sitting next to you? I don't know. Okay. I don't know that I brought enough, so if you can maybe share with a neighbor if they have one. I can give you I also have some of these too. So. Does anybody need? Yeah, if there's any extra. Alrighty. So number 7 is foundation cracks, settlements, and sinkholes. So we've been running into a lot of sinkholes around the city. They don't really talk about them. I don't think they really want everybody to know and panic. But they're doing a lot of repair on the main lines around town, so you'll see some construction, big giant pipes, that's them taking care of them because there are those sinkholes developing. We actually had one out in Troutdale, right next to the Mount Hood Community College, and it was so big, it shut down the street for a good 3 months. A whole car could have fit in it. Yeah, pretty scary. So be aware of any kind of unusual cracks in the walls that are, you know, pretty significant like this. I mean, yes, old homes settle and that kind of thing, but if it's really big, I would definitely be aware of, you know, maybe a possibility of a break in the line causing erosion, causing that void in the ground, or unusual holes in the ground, that kind of thing. Number 8 is septic waste pooling in the yard. I think that's a good indication that you have a break in the line. Number 9 is rodent problem. So this one, I swear I had this happen to me only to be able to tell you guys, because apparently it's not that common, but it does happen. We had a rental home that we were at, and it was pouring down rain that day, and we heard the toilet, and it sounded like it was gagging. And we had a roommate at the time, and we thought it might have been him in the bathroom, but after so long I was like, you know, honey, I go, maybe you should go check on him. It doesn't sound right. He goes in there, and sure enough, thankfully we had the lid down. It was a huge rat trying to make its way, sloshing back and forth, trying to get that lid up and get out of the sink. So he comes back, white as a ghost, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, there's a huge rat in the toilet. And I'm like, oh my God, do we call the fire department? What do we do? I didn't want it on me. And he's, so we sent our roommate in there with the broom handle and had him take care of it. It was really comical he had done there. But, yeah, anyway, so rats will find their way up the toilets. They can hold their breath for a good 3 minutes. They can travel long distances. They've got claws that can climb, and they have bones that are super flexible, so they can go into any kind of crack or opening the size of a quarter, and make their way in and invite themselves to dinner. All right, so number 10. This is another one that I encountered. How many of you guys run into insect infestation when you're selling a home or looking at a home? Sure. So I had drain flies. Have any of you heard of drain flies? They look like, I should draw a picture for you. I don't know if you guys have a board here, but, they look almost like the shape of Mickey Mouse's head. A little round body with big round wings, and they're a little bigger than a fruit fly. And they will nest in your pipes, and you can, like I did, I kept pouring water down the drain and they'd come right back. So, sure enough, when we went to go sell the home, those ended up being drain flies. So any kind of, drain flies, cockroaches, palmetto bugs, that kind of thing, could be an indication of a break in the line, so be aware of those as well. So if any of these symptoms that you might run across, we always encourage you to get a sewer scope done, preferably by Apollo if you can. Our sewer scopes are only $99 for realtors. And we also have a larger camera so we can get a better scope of the pipe, so that it might actually be a candidate for the CIPP where it'd normally be a fail. Because we can get a better scope of that pipe, it doesn't submerge into the water if there's like a separation. And I'll go into that further as well. Any questions on that?
Is there a timeline, like a newer home versus 10 years or 20 years?
A timeline on
As far as you should check the line?
should check. I would, honestly, I would do new construction. It doesn't matter what age of the home. New construction, we've been finding so many issues with the fact they're just throwing them up so quickly. There's a lot of debris in there. They're not stabilizing the pipes. Seeing a lot of bellies. And as far as bellies go, the state of Oregon requires us to recommend that they be replaced. Now, whether or not you guys decide to do that, it really depends on, the condition. Like if there's a lot of sediment sitting there, then I would probably want to replace it. And in that situation, we would have to dig up just that section of the pipe and replace it. There are those times though that we can actually line it with the CIPP and it will stabilize it, but it will not get rid of the belly. So, so when we do any kind of inspection, we have to say it needs to be replaced. But outside of that, we can have that discussion with the seller and decide whether or not it really needs to or not. We leave that up to you. So second page, we do financing. So if you don't want to wrap it into the closing, we can offer financing for your seller. And even though our sewer scopes are $99, if it's outside of a certain area, you should know how those things are travel charges, but it still is pretty inexpensive compared to others. And if you already have an existing inspection or video, email that to me and I can forward that over to our estimator and get you a bid as soon as possible. I try to make you guys a priority. I know you guys are working on time limits, so I want to make sure you're taken care of. So if you send them to me, I will make sure you were taken care of. Yeah.
I'm sorry, your company does inspection, or you do the inspection and repair?
We do the inspections and we can replace. We're full service. We do everything. The only thing that we do not do currently, because our truck isn't big enough, is pump septic tanks. We only have a truck that holds so much, but we can sub that out. We have an in-house excavation department, so we can do most everything else, and that keeps our prices really competitive. The other thing that we're not currently doing is backflow testing, so we can actually, we have somebody we work with that we recommend as well, so. Any other questions?
The price point of the CIP compared to having things excavated and changed out in that portion, how is that?
Very good question. The CIPP is always going to be cheaper than any time that you have to dig up landscaping. There's all those unforeseens. Installing the CIPP can sometimes save you half the cost. It really depends, of course, on the size of the pipe and all the variables. But you are going to save a lot of money, and it's much quicker. It only takes 3 to 4 hours to install, and it's ready for you, which is awesome.
Are there permits that have to be pulled for all that as well?
Yes, we pull the permits, but the city of Portland has been doing it for over 40 years, so pretty much everything is permitted, but in certain circumstances, there may be in different counties, there are those different jurisdictions that will require us to pull permits for certain things, so, yeah. Alrighty, so let's go into the video now. So CIPP is cured in place pipe. So the history of CIPP started in 1971 with Eric Wood, who implemented the first cured-in-place pipe technology in London, England. The process began to be used in residential and commercial applications in Japan and Europe in the 1970s, and for residential application in the United States in the 1980s. The City of Portland has been using LMK technology, same manufacturer as Apollo Drain, in their main line since 1998. The Apollo Drain has been the leader in getting this technology accepted for residential and commercial use in the Portland metro area since June of 2014. LMK recognizes the City of Portland as one of the most aggressive installers of LMK's technology. Can anybody tell me why we'd be the most aggressive installers?
Lots of water.
Lots of trees. That's the number one thing we run into in Oregon and Washington, and all of our inspections is root intrusion. They find their way into those joints, those little small hair roots find their way in. Before you know it, you've got all kinds of tree roots in there. So the number one, and the fact that we are the only ones installing in the Northwest. So yeah, the combination with the age of our pipes and the root intrusion is just going crazy. So, going forward. So what is cured in place pipe? Cured in place pipe is a trenchless or no-dig pipeline rehabilitation process involving a textile liner tube and liquid resin combination that forms a pipe within a pipe, all done with little to no surface disruption. So this is what the sleeve looks like when it starts out. It's been sewn to fit your pipe. It looks like a fabric inside. This is the compression sack. And we're going to pour the resin into this sleeve here, make sure it's completely saturated, and blow it in inverted, and then it adheres to the hose pipe. And I've got a video that will go over it that'll make much more sense. I'll let you look at it and pass it around. All right, so why CIPP?
How long does that last, against tree roots and whatnot?
So it's a permanent fix for 50 years, 50 years service life, only because this is as long as it's been around. But you'll never have to worry about root intrusion again. The roots will not find their way in there because this is completely seamless. So the roots will just find their way somewhere else and probably go over to the neighbors and feed off of theirs. It's happened. Alrighty. So why CIPP? Well, no damage to floors, structures, sidewalks, interior walls, landscaping, or streets. And you don't have a big dump truck in your front yard for like a week. You have literally just our drum that we feed it into, which sits about this high and about this wide. So no inconvenience there. Number 2, 100% trenchless technology. So the only time that we're going to have to dig up to replace any pipe is if there's a complete collapsed section, and just replace that section. Number 3, massive increases in flow efficiency. So even though it's taking up a little bit of space in your pipe, it's completely seamless and smooth. There's no joints. So you actually get increased flow in your drain line, which is awesome. So this is a complete finished product here. I'll pass that around. Yeah, so in the areas where the roots really find their way in is in the joints and, oh, here it is. And these are around the joints. These are called fern coats. They're just rubber, not made like they used to be, and definitely, you know, with all the rain and everything going into our soil and the chemicals, they end up cracking and breaking, and then again, that way the drain line starts to deteriorate and the roots find their way in. So this is what that looks like. But then with the CIPP blown in, you don't even have to worry about these. If they deteriorate, that's okay. If the whole hose pipe deteriorates, you've got that pipe underneath. So number 4, elimination of root intrusion. So again, after we've gone in there with a root nozzle and our robotic cutters and cut out all those roots, they're not going to find their way in anymore. They're not going to be able to penetrate through this. Number 5, repairs pipes with multiple angles and bends. Because it's being blown in a soft form, it can actually accommodate any kind of angles and bends. Here is an example of one right here. It's like show and tell today, guys. So this one here is an example of an offset. So If there's an offset, we have robotic cutters that go down and cut out the offset. And it actually, after being sleeved, it bridged the gap that was there. So this would have been a fail because that camera for the inspector would have submerged in that separation, where our camera gets a better scope of it and we can see whether or not it would be a candidate for the CIPP and bridge that gap. So I'll pass this around and you can see how it evened everything out.
Question. Okay, so with this on, how do you get this over right on the curve? How do you do that?
So it's going inside, being blown in inverted, and then it adheres to it.
This is the pipe.
That's the pipe.
outer pipe.
That's the outer pipe. Yep.
Oh.
Inside has
The
a.
yellow is the inside of the liner. Yep. Alright, number 6. Option to only line damaged area instead of the entire piping system. So we have the ability to start and stop wherever we choose, if you just wanted to do a certain section, but I always recommend getting the entire pipe done, because 9 times out of 10, we have them calling back up going, I've got root intrusion on the other end, and you guys didn't do it right, you didn't line the whole thing. Well, probably wanted to save money, they were thinking, oh, I'll only do part of it, and then they end up spending more money because we have to come back out and do the rest of the line. So it's actually more cost effective just to have the whole thing done and call it good.
There's a seam in one of those examples. Wouldn't that deteriorate over time?
No, doesn't seem to be. In 50 years, they've never had any issue with it deteriorating, no scratching. It's amazing how resilient it is, even with all the chemicals and everything that we use.
So these pipes are the laterals, they're not the main.
We can do the main lines as well as the laterals.
Is that liability of the city, the main?
Well, the city of Portland is using it as well. They have been before we.
So what I'm asking is
Oh.
they're gonna be compatible with.
Oh,
if you
compatible,
do it
yes,
and then
oh,
the
yeah,
city
to
does it.
join with it, you mean, yeah, definitely. We can, and even if there's a new construction, we have, it has the ability to be threaded and attached to another pipe. Yeah,
Does this also work on terracotta?
it does, any kind of material, so, yeah, it could be terracotta, cast iron, concrete, you name it, it can, any drain line. Yeah, pool drains, downspouts, French drains.
So is there a 50-year warranty, is that what I'm hearing?
50-year lifespan, 10-year warranty.
10-year warranty.
That is transferable when you sell the property. Yep. Number 7, significant cost savings. So I would say, it's really hard to say exactly how much, per square foot and that kind of thing. But I would say an average quote, on, trenching and that kind of thing saves about 7,000 to 8,000. Ours is gonna be maybe 4,000, 4,500, somewhere in there. So usually it's considerably less.
Does it ever blob up inside?
No. Prevention of pipe failure. So that being this is a permanent fix, you'll never have to worry about pipe failure, which is awesome. So it's really a good selling feature for anybody if you're selling a home and you've got this in your home. So you have peace of mind. You're not going to have to worry about root intrusion. You're not going to have to worry about any deterioration or anything at that point.
You do a scope afterwards as well, so the client can see.
Yeah, and actually I think it's required that we do.
Okay.
Yeah, so we make sure that everything is good, before, after, just before we sleeve it, make sure there's nothing in it, we can go out there and jet it and then all of a sudden have a mouse in there or something crazy. We wanna make sure it's completely clear before we sleeve it. Good questions. Number 9, stops leaks that can create sinkholes. So again, because there's not gonna be any deterioration, no root intrusion, no possibility of a sinkhole.
Excuse me. So I actually had this done at my house in LA. We had 5 giant trees on the parkway, and the lateral line from the main to our house was clogged with roots. It worked really well, but they said they couldn't do the collar from the main to the lateral line. So that part couldn't be done with safety.
I'm not sure if that's just because of what's permitted there, and also I don't know what material exactly, because there is other manufacturers that do this besides LMK. So it really just depends on a lot. I mean, I can't really speak for them or what they're.
But do you know if it can be done?
It can be done.
Okay, so collar.
Yep. All right, number 10, much faster than traditional methods. So we will, give you that bid on that video. We'll come out and measure, and it's really awesome seeing the guys out in the shop there with these this material and literally hand sewing things with thimbles. And I'm just like, yeah, little did you know home ec was going to come in handy, right? So they're out there, custom fitting this to the pipe, and then when they come out, 3 to 4 hours from start to finish, and it's ready for use. You hardly know that they're there, which is really awesome. All right. Next, we've got how it works. So this is the liquid resin that they're stirring up here. It starts out in a kind of a yellowish clear, and then we put the dye in there just so that they can see, make sure that it's completely saturated in that sleeve. Right there, they're inside of the trailer, laying that out, making sure that it's all saturated and looking good. That's actually the owner on the left. He wanted to get in there. That's his son's. We no longer have to get on our knees and roll it out. We do have a pinch roller now that we run it through. These are kind of old photos, so this is a refrigeration that we put it into because it's heat that cures it into a hard state. So we want to make sure that it's completely cool before it gets in and installed. That's the drum that we feed it into. So again, we do 2 inches all the way up to 15 inches for like culverts. It's cute because we have a little mini drum for the 2 inch. It's just not very common that we use it though. There they're using some vegetable oil to insert the liner back into the drum, make sure it goes in nice and smooth. And this job was actually a great candidate for the CIPP. It was 2 buildings over, I think, in southeast Belmont, and there was the clean out in between the 2 buildings, but there was no way you could get a dump truck in there. It was just, nowhere to park, so it was perfect. So there they are running the camera down. They're high-tech cameras, which I'll show you later in the video. Uh-oh, what's going on? I don't know why it froze.
How do they keep it from curing to itself?
It's getting blown in at high pressure. So when it gets blown in, and you'll see it in the video, which might be next, actually. Nope, not yet. Opening Y connections with the robotic cutter. So here's our cutter. It looks like a big Dremel if you've ever gotten your nails done. And that's our camera. So if you have any kind of Y connections, tie-ins, objects in the line, concrete in the line, we've actually used this to get concrete out of the city of Vancouver, had it in the line. They didn't know how they were going to take it out of the ground. It was so heavy. We were able to take this robotic cutter and go down and cut it all out. So it's, pretty awesome. They can just measure out exactly where it is that they need to open it up. Pretty high tech. Alright. So here's CIPP versus an offset. So installers at Apollo Drain use their reinstatement cutter to cut and grind down this offset. And as you can see in this cast iron pipe, it was really nasty. They just go in there with that robotic cutter and cut out the offsets, leave it. You can see very next day, completely smooth, seamless, finished pipe, good for 50 years. It's basically a lifetime. Alright, so here's a cast iron pipe that had root intrusion, and you can see there's still, even after jetting it, some little fine hair roots, and that's okay because the hot steam is going to seal those off. But it's being blown in, inverted, and then the compression sack will be removed after it's adhered and hardened. There's some separation, there's roots right there. Pretty cool. So there they are removing the compression sack, and you can see the finished product. That's the sleeve that goes in. It's really good. And you've got a nice clean line that's good flow. What was it? Oh yeah. So here is showing the durability. So this is just a regular ABS pipe that they've taken their truck over, and it's broke instant. So obviously that's not durable. And they had to show off their wrap on their trucks. Here they're taking the same pipe and they're drilling a hole in it, and they're going to sleeve this pipe, and you'll see how durable it is. Look at that. No cracking or bowing. Shows how strong it is. So those roots aren't going to find their way in if a truck can even collapse it. That's what everybody says. Pretty awesome.
If you do plumbing job, this certain stuff to be done with it.
Yeah, right? All right, so question and answer. So what size pipe can be lined? So we can line 3 inches to 12 inches, but now we do 2 inches. It's just not very common. We can do 15 inches, but only 4 feet at a time. How far can you line at one time? 4 inches is 130 feet. 6 inches is 100 feet. 8 inches is 50 feet. We can do 2 shots to double that length. And that's only because that's only how much we can fit into our drum at one time, but we can double that length. We did invest in something called the Top Gun, and that is a continuous feed, so really it doesn't matter the length. We should be able to accommodate pretty much any length now. Can you line through a belly? Yes, while it will increase the flow, it will not correct the belly. That can only be done by excavating and lifting the bellied section. So just so you know, it's not going to get rid of it. It's going to secure it, but it's not going to get rid of the belly. What is the warranty? It's a 10-year warranty with a 50-year service life. Do I have to line the entire pipe? No, LMK has a patented remote start-stop technology that allows us to start and stop the liner wherever we choose. So again, you can do a section of it, but again, I would recommend getting the entire line done if you can. How long does it take? Liner cures with steam in about an hour. Total job time is 3 to 4 hours, and customer is back in service. And that is CIPP. Any questions before I go into the next video? Yes?
Yeah, we've had a lot of experience in the past with using sleeving, but it was just a continuous plastic sleeve. You know, it's hard to begin with. Is this the next generation? Or are they still doing that too?
That is called, I believe, pipe bursting is what you might be describing.
Yeah.
Yep, we still do pipe bursting. So if it's not a candidate for the CIPP, we can do all the other methods of pipe repair. So pipe bursting, directional drilling, we can replace it, whatever, yeah. So they still do that.
Okay.
But CIPP is obviously much more, less invasive. It's not,
Right.
basically what pipe bursting is just jamming a pipe into another pipe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched them do it. It's
Yeah,
kind of
it's
interesting
crazy.
how they use their truck with a chain and pull it through.
Pull it through, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's not hard, but it's pretty hard pipe to begin with that they're sleeving. I'm amazed that
Right.
they can do it. To be quite
Right.
honest with you.
Well, a lot of the pipes are just so deteriorated and old anymore.
Yeah,
And
yeah, absolutely.
their lifespan should be longer, but because of the chemicals and everything that we're using, they're deteriorating faster.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of chemicals that deteriorate the pipes, what is this resin made out of, and what would deteriorate, or does it deteriorate?
The resin, I don't know the material. That's patent. They haven't really given me the breakdown of what that is, but it is non-toxic and not harmful to the environment, which is good. It's green. But in 50 years it hasn't broken down. So.
And then what would make something not a candidate for CIPP?
If there's a big separation, let's see, maybe the depth, if it's too far down. Sometimes it's hard, like there was a job that the pipe was up in the ceiling down in a basement. They couldn't get the drum in, and that's another thing. We cannot line inside of the building. So if there's like 3 feet of line that's inside of the basement, we can't line in that section. It has to be from the home out. We're fighting to change that because there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that. Why they do that, I don't know.
So let's say that you had a house that, had the CIP go into it and you wanted to add on, now you need to cut into the pipe that has the CIP in it. Can you use a standard connection? Clearly it's filled in all the stuff, so can you just cut it out and keep adding pipe?
Yeah, we are able to add on. So you can thread it, you can work with it to, add pipe to it. Yeah, there's a way to do it, so. I should have that on the video, that's a good question. Any other questions?
So you don't have, I don't see Deschutes County or Sun River where there's a lot of trees breaking a lot of the drain pipes.
That's a really good question. So being that we're the only ones doing it, residential and commercial, we have gone out to Bend, we've gone to Florence.
Perfect.
We have gone all over the place, so we can accommodate, we can go the distance if
And
you
so,
need us to.
so can we, you guys can stay overnight at that. Perfect.
So, we can make it work.
Okay.
We've gone out, as far as Woodland, we've been all over the place. And actually, we've done a couple jobs. One job in particular was for the Regal Cinemas. They, at Lloyd Center, if they'd done it any other way, they would have had to dug up 12 feet underneath through the concession stand, ticket booth. It would have been a nightmare, and we ended up doing it after hours for a couple days. Saved them $200,000. They would have had to remodel. It would have been a nightmare.
Wow.
So they were so grateful. They apparently have a theater over in Canada, and they sent the guys over to Canada to go take care of it. So
I thought they were gonna tear that down.
well, they thought they were going to have to. So another example is the Sentinel Hotel. Is anybody familiar with the Sentinel? It used to be called the Governor Hotel. One of the most decorated hotels in all of Oregon. They did a complete renovation on it, beautiful. But they did not think about what was behind the walls or underneath the floors. And shortly after they did that and spent all the money, they had an issue with a downspout behind the marble walls that run through the entire 6 stories of the building. And thankfully we had just started the CIPP and we were able to go in there, jet it out, sleeve it, only like $5,000.
Wow.
Did you have to get a special permit for that?
Since it's inside?
I'm not sure
It's
particulars
inside.
in those. I'm not even really supposed to talk a whole lot
Oh, okay.
about that. So I don't know on that. You didn't hear that from me. But so we're saving historical structures, which is awesome, and we're saving trees. So we always like to say, save a tree, choose CIPP. Because you don't have to dig up that tree if doing this. You're actually saving them, which is nice.
So is it the city of Portland that says you can't do it inside?
Yeah, I'm not sure, I believe it's even in Washington too. Yeah, but we're working on it. We're gonna keep working at.
Realtors can get kind of particular about not having a company come out that does the testing and repairs as well. Because it seems like a conflict of interest, you're gonna say, oh yeah, you need this repair, because you're the ones that would then get that business. How can you handle that and comfort a realtor or a homeowner with, just coming across more fair, or do you run across that very much?
We really don't. I think that just because we've been around for so long and, family owned and we specialize in this, and the fact that we don't just do the CIPP. So we're gonna, if it's not it might be a candidate for the CIPP, but maybe it's only 3 feet down and there's not a bunch of fancy landscaping or there's no concrete over it. So in that, we might just say, you're gonna save money if we just dig it up and replace it. So we're gonna give you the best option. We're totally open for you guys. I know you're sometimes getting a second opinion is always good, and sometimes we might be higher. But I feel like a lot of the times when those things happen, they're not telling you everything. When you cut into something or dig up something, you don't know what you're going to run into. They've been doing this for so long. I feel like they have kind of an upper hand on this. And how this really started is years ago, one of the boys was in a trench and it actually collapsed and almost killed him. So they decided, there's got to be another method. So they went to what's called the Wet Out Conference over in the East Coast. Ended up finding this procedure. Come to find out, the city of Portland has been doing it for so long on a larger scale. And they're like, we've got to invest in this. So it's actually very expensive to invest in, but it's been worth it ever since. And they have the peace of mind knowing that their guys don't have to get in a trench anymore if they don't have to.
My question is that last year I had a case that an inspector told that pipe from the house is separated from the connection from the pipe from the city, and they have different diameters. are you capable to connect two pipes with different lengths?
Yes, yeah, so any kind of transitions, we can custom fit it to fit that pipe. So if it starts out 3 inches, goes up to 6 inches, we can custom fit it to accommodate that pipe. Yes?
And no problem with party lines, so you can just keep going. You do like you said you have like remote start and stop, so is that how they kind of integrate the other line? Because obviously you're not gonna go back up to the neighbor's house. per
If
se.
there's a party line, we can go down there with our robotic cutter and cut out that opening.
Okay.
Yeah. Questions? You guys have great questions. Awesome crowd. Okay, so I'm gonna actually show you a really, really good video that we put together for you, and this is on our Facebook page and our website. So there are those clients that will actually pass this up because they're like, well, it sounds too good to be true. I've never heard of this. I think I'm gonna go another route. Why would you do that if you don't, you don't want to have to dig up your landscaping or cut down your tree and spend all that money? So show them this video, and now of course you guys are going to be able to speak about it. You're going to be experts, right? So let's go to that. Is there a way to turn off the lights? Because there's kind of a glare. I want you guys to be able to see it. Kelly, is there a light switch back there?
Serving the greater Northwest, Apollo.
Thank you. Let's see if I can make this bigger. Here we go. No, don't stop.
Payne and Reuter provides the most environmentally friendly and least destructive plumbing repair alternative called CIPP, or Cured in Place Pipe Repair. Traditional sewer repair options can mean trenching from the home to the city's main line in the street, causing disruption and damage to soil, landscape, and property. Apollo's non-destructive pipelining system allows sewer laterals to be fully rehabilitated and back to working condition in less than a day. We first locate any failures by inserting a small but powerful camera into your pipeline. Residential sewer laterals typically begin as a 4-inch cast iron pipe from the house, which connects to a 6-inch clay or concrete pipe down to the city's sewer main line. Most problems, like cracks, tree roots, or scale buildup, occur in the 6-inch pipe section, making it unnecessary to line the entire 4-inch cast iron portion. We recommend lining from a few feet before the transition into the 6-inch pipe all the way down to the city's main line. With any problems identified, we insert a high-pressure hydrojetter to clean the entire sewer lateral. Once completed, we're ready to line your sewer lateral. First, a piece of flexible, felt-like tubing is cut to fit the size and shape of your sewer. Next, we pour an epoxy resin mixture into the liner and use a weighted or pinch roller to ensure every inch is saturated with resin. The resin-soaked liner is then situated inside an inversion drum, where the starting end of the liner is securely affixed to the inverter drum nozzle, making an airtight seal. Air pressure is then used to shoot and invert the liner down inside the sewer lateral. After the liner is situated inside the pipe, we use steam to cure the pipe, reducing curing time to under an hour. Once the liner has been fully cured or hardened, the inner compression tube is deflated and removed, leaving behind a fully rehabilitated pipe. The restored sewer line is one long, seamless pipe, improving the flow of wastewater to the city main. Finally, we insert a robotic cutter inside your line and reopen the rain drain line so that it once again empties into the sewer. Without having to dig up your property, Apollo's trenchless sewer repair will strengthen your sewer lateral for decades to come. Give us a call today at 503-239-8801 and let one of our experienced technicians evaluate the condition of your sewer line.
Good job. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Does anybody recognize the voice? Has anybody been to Disneyland and gone on the train around the park? I wanted to have that nice voice, that friendly voice that everybody could be familiar with. So it really helps to, show you how the process works, and you can get a better visual on it, because a lot of times people just can't wrap their head around it. Yes?
So anywhere that you have to cut open the resin pipe, would roots be able to intrude in there?
If you had to cut into it and connect it, that, there's always a possibility, yeah. Anytime there's a joint, there's always the possibility of root intrusion in there. But as far as a pipe that's lined, there wouldn't be the possibility of there.
So is there any way to line both areas so that there would be?
We could, yeah, to conjoin them. That's a good question.
And they would be seamless or as seamless as you?
It would, what it would look like is, where's that one pipe that's connected that had a gap? So it would, it can mold together, and then we can go down there with a robotic cutter and smooth it out. So it would be conjoined, and so it wouldn't be, there wouldn't be a joint there at that point, yeah. Any other questions?
I thought that rain drains weren't supposed to go into the sanitary sewer system. Isn't that against the code?
Apparently not in everywhere,
Yeah.
not everywhere, and they're already that way before they've corrected them.
Right.
Yeah. So you should have one of these in your bag. If you don't have a bag, maybe you can share this with your neighbor. So again, we're full service, 24/7 emergency service. Just wanted to run through this real quickly. So we do drain cleaning, video inspection and locating, hydro jetting, pipe thawing, rooter services, smoke testing, dye testing, rain drains, storm system, and much more. Pipe bursting, directional drilling, vacuum excavating, mainline taps, party sewer lines, rain drains, lift stations, dry wells, water lines, sewer connections, conduit installs, and much more.
I think I've used you guys to take out an oil thing.
An oil tank? That's possible. I mean, we have our own in-house excavation, so we are capable of doing that.
And we kind of gravel it and close it up and redo it.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Thanks. So under plumbing, we do grease interceptors. We install them, we can maintain them, clean them. So if you know anybody that has a business that they're using grease, let them know that the city of Portland is actually tracking what's called, with food oil grease, which is called FOG, back to the restaurants and fining them if they're not in compliance. If they don't have the proper size grease interceptor to accommodate all the grease that they're using, they'll give them a chance to install a new grease interceptor. And so if they come across this, tell them to come to us because we are installing the grease interceptors, and they have some great ones now that aren't so ginormous. They used to had to dig up a huge section to put them in, but now they've got much smaller ones. So we also do water service installation, fixture repair replacement, water heaters including tankless and hybrid, ADA upgrades, pipe inspection and replacement, water and drain pipes, free pipe installation services, code compliant upgrades, custom showers and tubs, toilet repair, and much, much more. So keep that in mind that we are not just doing the CIPP, but we can do everything else as well. I'll give that back to you. Thank you. So, next. Does everybody have a pen handy? Because I got a little quiz for you. Grab your pens, and I'm going to have pass these around. Do not turn them over until I tell you.
I'm not turning it over.
Yeah, no turning over, no change. Bad. Cheater, what do you do? It's open book, it's not that bad. Oh, nobody behind you. So if you guys all could go onto our Facebook page and like us and follow us, we have some great information on there, some other videos, like the truck videos on there. We do fun games as well and show you what's going on in and around town. Yeah, I could have done that, huh? Just passing it.
Go sit in the corner.
They were like separating the bags. produce. Can't sometimes, I always have to blow on my hands. Does everybody have one? Oh, let me grab some more.
I don't think so. I would have
Sorry, I missed you guys. Anybody else? Alright. Go ahead and turn it over. This is a word scramble. It's all plumbing related. See, it's not a bad test.
He's really good.
I'm keeping it fun. Yeah, so all plumbing related. You can look at your notes. It's open book. Does anybody have 3 yet?
He's got them all. It's fine.
4?
That's 7.
No, you
good.
For real?
He's really good. That's amazing.
Wow. That's impressive.
He had 4 young and I was still looking at 1.
Alright, you guys have 5 seconds left. Alright, go ahead and stop. Let's see if Mr. Smarty Pants got them all right.
I didn't get the last one.
Okay, so number 1 is drain. Number 2 is clog.
Yeah.
Number 3 is plumber. Number 4 is
CIPP.
CIPP. Good job.
What is
Number
it?
CIPP. Number 5 is Apollo. Number 6 is toilet. Number 7 is sewer. And number 8 is water heater. Alright, so who has 7 right? Anybody tied? Ooh, you got a tiebreaker. Alright, so for you two, I'm going to read off some letters. You're gonna have to unscramble them. Whoever does it first and gets the answer right is the winner. Alright, you both ready?
Yeah.
So we've got N, C, V is in Victor, X, E, T, A, I, O, A. Got it? What is it?
Excavation.
Good job! Awesome! Excavation was the answer.
You said 4. You said 4. Free pipe.
Did I get everybody's business cards? Because I am going to do a drawing now.
Oh, no, I don't
I
have
did
that.
not, well, I don't know what happened to my little box.
It's right behind on the wooden.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I don't forget that part.
I don't, but I do have the information. So if you guys didn't get a swag bag, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize how many people were gonna be here. I do have information in the back of my vehicle out in the parking lot, I can give you, some of that, and I have some goodies in there too. So just let me know if you need it. Did I get everybody? Alright, let's do this drawing. And after I do the drawing, I have one thing to ask of all of you guys. I love to post on our Facebook page and talk about great things about how great our classes are. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to get a picture of you guys in front of our logo and holding up your swag bags and looking like you just love this class. And so if I can get a picture of you after this, that would be awesome. Let's go for this one. I've got Todd. All right. Great job. You want to show everybody what's inside of there?
It is water bottle,
Shaker bottle.
some candy, and
everybody.
some sunglasses.
Any other questions before we end? No? Can I have everybody come up and get a great picture? Everybody get a chance to sign in. If you did not get a chance to sign in, please have a seat. So let's have everybody stand like right, let's push this back. Right in here. No, we're not.
I'm good. Good.
Right behind. Try to crowd in as much as we can.
Yeah, all the short people should be behind.
I'll stand on my tiptoes. Oh, you're front. All right, so I'm gonna come in between you guys.
Okay, ready? One, I'm gonna do a few of them.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Should we be holding up the pipes?
Oh, yeah. Hold the pipes. Let's hold on the pipes. Who wants props? Because they're cool. Who wants props? That's a great
Well, she was just standing that back there with us.
Okay.
Why not?
Anybody want to hold tight? I swear they're not pooping.
All right, we'll do some more here.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Say CIPP.
Oh, super coffee. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was a real great job.
All your questions, you guys are ready. Yeah, I do in the cart, but I don't put one together. Yeah, I'm just right outside, so I'll put some together.
And if they need to make some slight modifications.
Yeah, it's funny, there's Apollo Pool, and I think there's even another Apollo plumbing through Union or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the belly, so that you would
Montana?
just roll the belly, it wouldn't matter.
I just don't, some
So
people,
if
you know, they.
if it's able to be saved, then we'll leave it.
Yes. Yes.
Puzzles.
You know the words
We recommend it. I mean,
I would do that.
want to, that's up to them. But for us, we would say that we have to. I mean, I think that's with anybody that does an inspection, they have to say that they have to do this.
So, like a while ago, I had
Yeah,
very
I
mind
read that stuff. It's like a Facebook cover.
Exactly all that.
Yeah.
Even the city said, yeah, the city would say that.
No,
But
they
it's
did.
funny,
They did say
but the state of Oregon requires it, it's so crazy, so, but, yeah, it's not gonna get rid of it, it's just gonna stay there, and still be there, you know, better. Probably won't be,
Yeah.
you know, worse than.
And you're from the Portland Metro?
I'm in the Portland area.
Sure, that's not.
And did you cover, I was a few minutes late, did you cover why these are or not, why would they not be new construction? Why are these pipes made this way?
I've been a part of more.
I think, I really don't know why they don't do it that way, it's hard to, they have to have the floor, they'd have to almost sleeve something and then have the plumber remove the outer.
Right, but I'm thinking if they modified it so that instead of being a replacement, it could be an original product.
I think that they should do the regular pipe and strip it right from the get-go.
There you
Oh,
go.
that doesn't
And then
sound.
just have
How
it
can they do
done
that?
There,
and
yeah.
then nobody has to.
Yeah.
But anyway, keep your chin.
Have a good day.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and
I've got an 11
well,
o'clock
I'm gonna go out to my car and bring in some more bags.
I've got a bag,
Oh,
it just didn't have the
Most of the things that you were
women,
reading out.
especially active
That had
women
the
over 45. I've been
Oh,
here
the,
for
was it the
But
signs?
I wasn't
this one?
adjusting the muscular
Yes.
part.
Thank you.
I kept getting adjusted and then I kind of go back. I'd get adjusted and I'd go back. Turns out my quads are
Yeah, so if you have the video already, we
and
send it to
they
you.
over time.
And then Jonathan's got it.
it was pulling, well, it ended up, we're growing so fast right now, it's pelvis in the front.
You're looking for journeyman
There's
assistance.
so much. We're just trying to get into a vehicle.
If you know anybody that wants to be on the
No,
CIP
and that was the
program,
mind-blowing part.
is what it's looking for somebody
This
just
was a
starting out,
simple
getting into the
motion.
industry, getting to know them. My son is 21, he's doing it.
So many
He's getting a lot of overtime right now. Yeah,
She
tell
was
me.
there, she said, Mom, you need to go to this woman who does, she does like,
I think the process is great.
and I really believe it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Surgical personal protection cell, it's
4
about
weeks.
2 weeks to
It
go.
almost put me in the
And
hospital,
so,
but I
we
never
tried
do
with
from the
valve,
bacterial and
some of the
antibiotics.
seals are, there's like no leaking,
Just pulled out of
tiny
a
little
little
rooms.
active
I
again.
think it would be a good candidate, up in Washington,
And I was in a brace.
and
I said,
so
why
it's
didn't
on
I
the other side of the
go?
road. He also said there's
So
no
I went
belly
straight
under
to
the
her,
road.
and the
So when I
minute
got the
she touched my
estimate,
body,
it's
she goes,
$14,000
yes, and that's why I
place,
was
right?
having a
Everything got
issue.
the road,
So I had to do a lot of physical therapy to balance my muscular system.
So I actually had Clean Water Services come out.
Yes.
They
So it ended up just being over time, having a dormant, something dormant in your body, and then getting into a position that just exacerbated it. No, thanks. You know what, you've been through so much in your life.
Working, it's
When it
carrying
happens,
water,
you go, okay,
you know,
the blessing in
it's,
this is
very
going to
good.
be. And I ended up getting to do
So,
my
that worked,
things
so
to
I had, the buyer,
and it was,
initially it said,
so I turned out but it was for 4 months.
what other options do I have? So, can you guys
No, I
work
went
with
to an
Clean Water
MD and they
Services and
put me
stuff?
on
Okay, and so basically you say, okay, we need to do this.
Okay, all right, I'll do it.
Okay, yeah, so, and you say,
Save some money there.
yeah, exactly, so, yeah, I mean, really, so having this, like, the party line comes in right before
Well,
the sidewalk is.
you're right,
And then
and
some
you
of my
have
neighbor's
to
party
keep
line, of
track,
course,
just like
they're not gonna
transition
be
feels
emphatic, because I'll have.
But I have
It's not really causing any issues,
I'm
it's
still on no meds.
it's not
I don't
broken,
have any
it's
other
not leaking
issues.
anywhere, so, maybe just go to the
Always
party
have a
line.
musculoskeletal issue.
But I think,
And, of course, that's
thank you for trying to get more attention.
anyway, so, it just, I learned a lot, and I got a lot of like spacewalking, and, you know, I never felt so good, so it eventually got corrected. You don't, sometimes you don't realize you're in a situation that needs help until you're in pain, and then it gets your attention, so.
Hardly any water coming out of the pipes.
Oh, thank you.
So I told the city, they said, if you're doing it.
Yes, I purchased it, from Jim, no, he looked out, I purchased it from him, and,
And last night, I just.
you know, it was at the top of the market, but.
So I went to the main and
And I think it just started last fall. And then I'm president for this mini HOA, and then I'm on the board for the larger HOA. And I'm here on board.
That's a different night.
I'm
I'm going to the gym every day.
real hard to leave.
So can I call you guys in the car?